Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. I wanted to start off by saying that today is going to be a little different than you're probably used to seeing. So, I worked in the car business for nearly 6 years. I spent most of my time in sales, but I also spent part of my time in the service department working as a service advisor, and I spent a little bit of time upstairs answering phones and things like that. But the reason I want to make this video is because I'm always getting asked questions, when's the best time to buy a car, or really just what is the best way to buy a car? How do I get to that end price that I want when I'm going in there? How do I negotiate? How do I get everything that I wanted on the car? How to get all the options and still get close to the price that I want? And I'm always going out with friends and family and things like that, helping them get those prices, helping them get the car that they want for the best deal. And I just figured, why not try to help some other people out? Because I see this question asked numerous times by people on the internet, different Facebook pages and things like that. Hey, what'd you guys pay for your car? What should I pay for my car? So I just want to help out with that and see if I can maybe shed some light on it and walk people through what the best process would be. So I've got it listed out here on my phone, and I broke it down into 7 steps. So I'm going to start off just by saying, just by going right in order pretty much. So here we go. First step of getting the best price on a car is going to be knowing when to buy. Now, the best time to buy is actually the slowest months of the year. Buying a car during the slower months is when dealerships are going to be more apt to give you a better price on the car because they're more inclined to sell you a vehicle because they're not selling anything. Now, yes, you can still get great deals at those peak buying moments if you're working your numbers properly. But the thing that I've noticed the best is dealers working with my managers in particular, in my experience, they were more apt to give a better price during those slow months because they really needed to hit those numbers. And with all the competition around in the area, they tended to drop prices a little more quickly and kind of speed up the buying process, if you will, during those slower months. They might drag it out a little bit to see what they can get out of you during the months that are a lot more busy. The best time to buy a car is after Christmas, so after the new year, after the holiday season, if you will. The reason for this is because everybody has bought cars for themselves, for their spouses, for their parents, for their kids, all during that holiday season, all to give them as gifts. I apologize if there's any extra noise around here. I'm trying to just avoid the wind, but you might get a little extra noise. So by buying the car during those months, you are increasing your chance of a better deal because, like I said, they're not selling as many. Another good time to buy is actually the beginning of fall, end of summer, because a lot of people are sending their kids back to school. They're not thinking about buying cars. They've bought cars over the summer, things like that. The high times of the year that people buy cars are typically in the spring and in the summer months. The winter and fall months just aren't as busy. So that would be my recommendation on the best times to buy. Step number 2 for getting the best deal on a car is going to be buying the car, looking at the car closest to the time you want to buy it. I used to have people come in all the time and say, hey, I'm looking to buy a car in a year. I'm looking to buy a car in 2 years. I'm looking to buy a car in 6 months. No, do not come down to the dealership. If you want to come down and look at cars and kind of peek around at what the options are, that's one thing. Maybe take a test drive or 2. But do not be getting pricing for the cars. I don't care what the salesman says. You're going to have to walk away. If you are dead set on not buying a car for financial reasons, for anything, make sure that you do not get numbers on that car. You're wasting your own time and you're wasting the salesperson's time, which, quite honestly, you shouldn't waste a salesperson's time because they're there for their job. They're trying to make money. Secondly, you shouldn't waste your own time because you're not getting anything out of it. Those numbers are all going to change within the next year. So there's going to be different sales perks and things like that. There's going to be all kinds of different things. They could raise the sticker price on the car. The manufacturers do that very frequently. There could be a facelift on the car, which would cause them to raise the price. They could change things inside the car. You're not getting a valuable piece of information for yourself because you're not looking at a time that you're going to be buying. You're looking way into the future, and there's so many things that could change. Manufacturers are constantly changing promotions, constantly changing vehicles. If you're not looking within the next 3 months max, don't even bother going down to get numbers. It just doesn't make sense for you, and it doesn't make sense for the salesperson or the dealership. You're kind of just wasting everybody's time. Point number 3, and I'm going to kind of almost read this right off the phone. Know what you want. Don't be looking at every car under the sun. Don't be looking at every single car in one particular class. So don't go down and say you want a mid-size sedan. Don't go down and look at the Accord, look at the Camry, look at the TSX, look at an Elantra. Don't go down and do all that stuff, because now you have this huge plethora of cars and you have no idea what you want. You still haven't decided. So you can go down, and like I wrote here, if you go down and you test drive 5 different sedans, you're not gonna have a clue what you want. If you didn't know what you wanted before you went in, you're not gonna be able to narrow it down after. It's just a fact. You're gonna have so much information going on that you're not gonna know what you want. You wanna make sure that you're going down, you wanna have 3 cars in mind at the most. Because if you do that, now you've focused on those 3 main cars. Start out, and to do this, start out with the car that you like to look at the best. What car do you want to wake up to in the morning? What car do you want to look out in the driveway and see? If you're going down, you're driving a car just to see how it drives, you're wasting your time. Because you want to make sure that you're getting into a car that you like. If you don't like looking at a car, I'm telling you, you're not going to like driving it, because you're going to always feel crappy about getting into a car that you don't even like to look back at when you're walking away, or that you like to look at when you're walking up to. That's one of the biggest things. It's like anything else. It's like purchasing a t-shirt. If you go out and purchase a t-shirt just because it fits well, that doesn't really make sense, right? What if you don't like the shirt itself? What if you don't like the color? What if you don't like the design or anything like that? Now you're just buying a shirt and you're wasting money on something that you don't even really like. Sure, it fits great. It might be the best fitting shirt in your closet. But if you don't like to look at it, or you don't like the way it looks on you, what's the point of buying the shirt? So just keep that in mind when you go down to look at these cars. Try to pick 3 that you really like to look at. Go drive those 3, and then make your decision from there. 4th thing is to know how to negotiate. Don't go in there and just, when the salesman, because the salesman is going to ask you, what do you want to pay for the car? Tell him. Tell him what you want to pay for the car. Everyone thinks, oh, no, I'm not going to tell him. I'm going to let him guess. I'm going to let him come back with the lowest price. No. Tell him what you want to pay for the car, and stick by that number. If he comes into you and he says, or he or she, if they come into you and they say, okay, sticker price on the car is 30 grand. What do you want to pay for the car? Well, I want to pay 20. That's a completely ridiculous number. It's absurd. But they might give it to you. Because he's going to go over, he's going to go back and forth with the manager, he's going to go back and forth with everybody else, and then you can kind of make a decision, and then they can make that decision on what they're going to do. If you don't tell him what you want to pay, and he just keeps coming back with lower prices, and you're not telling him what you really want to pay, and he says, well, what do you want to pay? And you say, I want it lower. They don't know how low to go. They don't know if $100 will do it. They don't know if $1,000 will do it. They have no idea. 50 cents could be what you're looking for. But if you tell him that, now you're negotiating. Now you're working with him. Because everybody gets intimidated by salesmen, and I understand that. And I know why that happens, but you need to make sure that you're going in there and that you are explaining what you want so that they can help you, because although they're there to make money, they are there to put you in a vehicle that you want to drive every day. So just make sure that you're working with them, not necessarily against them, because if you work together, you might actually get the price you want, believe it or not. 5th thing is to know when to stop negotiating. So that's actually a really important point. When I helped my sister buy her last Civic, she bought a brand new one in 2019. And I had gone in there, I had done exactly what I said. The price of the car, I think, was $24, and I said I wanted to pay $19. 2 dealerships told me to walk. They wouldn't do it. The 3rd dealership I went in, I didn't even give them a number. He goes, I'll be back with a lower number, just let me go work the number. I said, okay. He comes back at 19, flat. I didn't know what to do. I was blown away. Because here are these 3 other stores that had told me they wouldn't do it. This guy wanted to do it. Now, part of the reason they were doing that, it was the end of the month. It was one of the slower months. And they also needed that car gone. That car had been on the lot for nearly 3 months. So they wanted that car gone. It was a beautiful car. There's nothing wrong with it. But nobody wanted red, apparently, in a Civic. So luckily my sister did. We got a great deal. But that's something that you need to realize of. Some people would go in there and just be like, well, I need to get a deal. 19 must not be low enough. And when I looked at her trade value and I looked at what they had done for the car, dropping it that much, I realized that the best thing to negotiate on was actually the accessories. So she wanted a spoiler in the back. I negotiated on the spoiler because dealerships are more apt to give you products for the car before they necessarily take money off of it. They can afford to go ahead and take money and give you the money, or they can go ahead and afford to take products like a spoiler, like mud flaps, like all-weathers, mats, things like that. They can toss those in. They'll write those off and things like that. The price of the car, the manufacturer only lets them go so low. So they need to make sure that they're staying within those suggested prices from the manufacturer. So when this opportunity presented itself, I said, well, great, the price looks awesome. Give me the spoiler for free. Spoiler was $600. That was, now the car basically went from being 19 to 18.4 just from that $600 savings on the spoiler. So know when to stop negotiating on the car itself and when to negotiate on other things if you're looking for other things. Now, if you just want another $600 off the car, by all means, have at it. Take your shot. But along with asking for more things, you need to know when it is time to stop, because I'll tell you something right now. Nothing is worse than doing, people talk about walk of shame with other things. Let me tell you about the walk of shame that I used to see. The person that told me my number was too high, and then they got to come back and tell me that they want to buy the car. They say you can't put a price on dignity. When you walk back into that store and you have to buy it for the price that I told you that you're going to buy it for, there's no dignity in that. I won. Don't let the sales guy win. Know what a good price is when you see it. Take advantage of that. Buy the car. Now, you're more than welcome to go look around. Just say, hey, you know what? I want to go look around. But if you've already done a lot of looking, you should probably take that price. And that's actually a little bit of a bonus point right here. You're going to need to go to multiple stores. You're going to need, once you settle on a car, you need to go to multiple stores of that brand and of that vehicle. Don't go to Toyota, look at the Camry and get the best price, then go to Honda, look at the Accord and get the best price. If you like the Camry the best, go to 3 Camry dealerships, or go to 3 Toyota dealerships, look at 3 Camrys, and get the best price on those cars. Because that's how you're going to get the best price. Now you can negotiate and use the papers that they gave you against the other salesman. You can say, well, this dealership offered me $20,000 for the car. Okay, well, this deal, you guys are telling me I have to pay $23,000. When you have that sheet in front of you, when you have proof, the salesman looks at that and he says, all right, well, I guess I got to do 20 if I want to make this deal, or I got to do 19.8 or something. I got to give him something. That's what you want to be looking for. You want to be able to use that to your advantage. Sixth thing, it's to understand it doesn't matter how they move the numbers, just as long as it gets to the price that you want. So a lot of people think that you need to lower the price of the car that you're buying and lower the price of your trade-in. Or raise the price of your trade-in. It doesn't really matter how they move the numbers around, because they are going to do it. I'm telling you that right now. They might tell you that your trade is worth, if you wanted to pay $18,000 for a car, and they're saying your trade is worth $3,000, if they can only take off a certain amount on the car, let's say they can only take off to 19 on the new car, they're just going to shuffle some of that money over. They're just going to make it look like they dropped you down to 18. That's how that works. So just if they do that, fine. But now just realize that, okay, well, they got you to where you wanted here. Just focus on this car. Focus on the car that you're trading in. Just understand that it doesn't matter how they move the money. If they tell you, hey, listen, I can't take any more off the new car, but I can toss some money on this one, take it. It doesn't matter. It's all the same money. It's all getting taken off or added on the same way. They're just putting it in different places to help their own numbers, which is not a problem. That's fine, as long as you're getting the same deal that you walked in there for initially. And last but not least, this is the most important thing when buying a car, and I stand by this until I die. Respect the person you're buying the car off of. Respect their time. Because as a car salesman working in the business for so long, people don't respect it as a business. They think that you're just there to please them. That's not how that works. As a car salesman, you are there to help somebody through the buying process, to help them get the car that they want and to get it at the best price. That is your job. But realize that when you fill out a survey or something like that, which you will inevitably get a survey from the manufacturer, they almost all send them now. If you don't have anything nice to say, just like your parents used to tell you, don't say anything at all, because now you're affecting their livelihood, you're affecting their paycheck. Maybe they were just in a bad mood one day. Maybe they had a fight with their wife or their husband or something like that. Don't ruin it by giving them a bad survey. And know this right now, when you fill out one of those surveys, it's asking you questions about the dealership. It says, okay, was the dealership clean? Was the car you test drove clean? Was the finance manager helpful to work with? If you write that the finance manager wasn't helpful to work with, that doesn't hurt the finance manager, it hurts the salesperson. Everything from that survey falls on the salesperson. I had somebody write that there weren't enough cookies in the cookie jar once. That's not a joke. And that hurt me because somebody else hadn't put cookies in the cookie jar. That's not my job. I don't handle that portion of the dealership. I'm just there to help somebody with the car. But because there weren't enough cookies, I didn't get paid that week for that particular survey. So just know that when you're filling these things out, you're actually only really affecting the person you worked with the most. You're not affecting who you think you're affecting. Just a little thing to keep in mind. So I hope this helps. I hope that you're able to go out and purchase a car for the price that you want now. There are going to be two other parts of this video. One part is going to be how to work with the finance director, and one part is also going to be how to work with the service department when you can come in for service as far as warranties and stuff like that. So I hope this was really helpful. Please like, comment, and subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you next time in the next video. Scooch out.